There are some players from the 2023 draft class that are starting off their breakout campaigns this season. And a player that I just really want to talk about right now is Grady Dick for the Toronto Raptors, because he's becoming such a dynamic scorer in year number 2. And for a Raptors team that is already banged up, that doesn't really have playoff aspirations, Grady Dick is taking advantage over every minute possible and has been unreal in year number 2. Through 6 games, Grady Dick is averaging 21 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 2 assists a night. He's shooting 49% from the field, 37% from 3 on great volume as well. He's taking 7 threes a night. He's also shooting 90% from the free throw line. And I think what Grady Dick has just done this year that's been a little bit different is his finishing at the rim is getting more dynamic, more creative, and he's able to get around multiple defenders. He's able to go at different defenders at the rim, and he's finishing inside, because we all knew how good of a shooter Grady Dick was coming out of Kansas. And we're like, all right, why did the maybe Raptors have to spot up shooter in the lottery, right? He was going to be just thrown in the corner, thrown on the perimeter a ton, not asked to do a lot with the ball in his hands, because he was going into a situation with Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes was on the rise. Grady Dick was definitely going to be more of a role player throughout his rookie contract if that team kept the same roster. Well, it is completely different now that Scotty Barnes is hurt, Pascal Siakam and Anunoby are gone, Emmanuel Quickley is hurt, and Grady Dick has been taking advantage of all these minutes in year number 2. Some of these individual game performances this year have been kind of crazy. He recently just put up 31 points, which was a career high against the LA Lakers. They did lose that game, but it wasn't because of Grady Dick. He shot 50% from the field, 45% from 3. He tallied 7 rebounds, and like I was saying before, he just looks so dynamic in attacking the rim. He could finish inside, he could do reverse layups, double clutches, and it just feels like Grady Dick is finding a way to score. And that is now back-to-back 30-point games for Grady Dick, because on October 30th against Charlotte, he put up 30 points. He shot that on 65% from the field, and he only hit 2 threes. So that is different for Grady Dick's game, because he was known as strictly a shooter at Kansas, more of a shooter last year as well, but he has been taking tougher shots this year. The mid-range looks better. The overall play for Grady Dick looks better, and I don't think they're making the playoffs this year in Toronto, maybe not even next year, but when the Raptors make the playoffs and Grady Dick rounds out into being such a good player that we could see him to be, he's going to be such an impact player in the playoffs, because he's going to be an elite shooter. And if he can be a dynamic scorer, and he can score inside the paint, mid-range, and from 3, he's going to have so much value for a playoff team. And I can already see how much value he could bring to a playoff team right now. And this is just a handful of games into year number 2. Think about how good he's going to be in year number 4, 5, and 6. How about Bilal Coulibaly in Washington? He was somebody that wasn't supposed to go in the lottery in the 2023 draft. Kind of a shocking pick. He goes in the top 10 to Washington, but he didn't really show a lot stats-wise when he played with Metropolitans 92 and Victor Wembanyama before he came over into the NBA. Last year showed some flashes, but we're like, all right, it could be a couple years. Thought he would maybe spend a little bit of time in the G League. This year, though, he's off to an incredible start for the Washington Wizards. He's averaging 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. He's shooting 59% from the field, 42% from 3, which caught my eye, and 83% from the line. I did not think he was going to be this consistent of a 3-point shooter. First game of the year against Boston, didn't play great in that game, but he's rattled off 3 straight good games against Cleveland and back-to-back games against Atlanta. And what I love about Bilal's game this year has been his skill set on the defensive side of the floor. He guarded Trae Young extremely well in those 2 games, especially late in the 4th quarter in that first one against Atlanta, where he was playing good on-ball defense against Trae Young, good on-ball defense against multiple Atlanta Hawks on the perimeter. And that's what I want to see from Bilal, because Bilal was one of the younger players from that draft class last year, and he has shown that progression that we saw pre-draft that we thought was going to take a little bit of time showcasing already. And this is for a bad Washington team right now. Think about how good he's going to be when he is a true point guard, when Alex Sarr rounds out into a good big man, and he has good complementary pieces around him. And Bilal Coulibaly could take this team to the playoffs one day. I think he does have that potential because of his two-way ability. Another player that's been stepping up so far in year number 2 has been Jordan Hawkins. And I was really high on Jordan Hawkins from his rookie season. I really love this pick coming out of UConn. He could be this glue guy, plug and play for the Pelicans when he's like the 8th man on this team, and he could be such a good 3-and-D role player. Well, now, with all these injuries in New Orleans, injuries to DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Jordan Hawkins is being asked to do way more than he probably thought going into year number 2. In 6 games this year, he is taking 13 shots a night, 7 threes. He's shooting 44% from the field, 38% from three, 91% from the line. And what I like about Hawkins' game this year are multiple things. He looks so good in the mid-range, and he's becoming more aggressive when attacking the rim. He's averaging 17 points, 5 rebounds. I think he's playing good defense as well. I think he could do a little bit better reading passes, trying to get in passing lanes a little bit more, get the deflections up. But I think Hawkins has been an overall solid defender this year. And these shots he is hitting in the mid-range are off movement, off balance, and shots you would not really expect to fall for somebody like Hawkins going into year number 2 after it was an inconsistent rookie season. He did show good three-point shooting flashes, but there was open shots he was missing, maybe contested shots that you would like to see him impress you a little bit by knocking those down, and he's knocking those down this year. And like I said, with all these injuries in New Orleans, who knows what Brandon Ingram's future is, and Zion Williamson could obviously get hurt that we've seen in the past, Hawkins is going to be a reliable piece for this team going forward. And it's interesting to just kind of think about the dynamic with this Pelicans squad when they're fully healthy. Like, how does Hawkins fit with CJ, Herb, and Trey back? Because those are 3 guys that would eat into Jordan Hawkins' minutes. Same with DeJounte Murray, because he's averaging 32 minutes a night this year, and you probably expected him to play around 20 to 22 minutes if they were at full strength. So if he's playing this well, it's going to be hard to really slash into these minutes, especially if he's getting into a rhythm as well and he's becoming more consistent as a scorer. And the last player I want to talk about individually has been Thompson and what he's been providing Houston on the defensive end of the floor, because I think he's turning into one of the league's best defenders, and he is just 21 years old. This is obviously a deeper Rockets roster with young pieces where we've rarely seen Reed Shepherd this year. So Thompson isn't playing as many minutes as you may think. Like I just talked about Jordan Hawkins playing 30 plus minutes. Thompson is only playing 20 minutes a night. He got off to a rocky start shooting the ball this year and finishing inside the paint as a driver, but he has had a nice couple of games against San Antonio and Dallas. But I think he has done a great job on the defensive end this year. He can pick up guys full court. He can run with anybody in the league. He can get chase down blocks, get into passing lanes, play good off-ball defense. He has elite instincts as well, and he's just 21 years old. And I think it's just really exciting to watch him and Jalen Green on the perimeter together, even Dylan Brooks at times. There's some really good defenders in Houston. I think this team dynamic, him under Ime Udoka, has been really fun to watch on that end of the floor, because these guys are extremely athletic, and I think they can win them games on that area of the ball. Now, I'd like to see Thompson work on the shot a little bit more, maybe take more shots, become more aggressive, be a better playmaker. I think that's going to come over time. At least I hope it does. We'll see if there's going to be minutes opening up for him throughout the course of this season, but I think Thompson has done a great job on the defensive end. But I think all in all, the 2023 draft class has been somewhat disappointing this year. Wemby has shown Wemby flashes games, right? He had a 5x5, which means he had 5 points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, and he did that on a crazy level. Brandon Miller got hurt in game number 1. Scoot Henderson hasn't been starting. The 3-point shot isn't falling, but I still see Scoot progressing. Asor Thompson has been hurt. Anthony Black has been good. He has been a nice playmaker so far this year. Jarvis Walker hasn't done too much. Taylor Hendricks is out for the year. Jalen Hood-Schifino's contract didn't get picked up. Kobe Buffkin's been hurt. Keontae George has been inefficient. Jaime Hawkins and Brandon Podziemski's shots aren't falling. I think this 2023 draft class is not off to the greatest start right now, but I wanted to make this video to highlight and showcase what Grady Dick, Jordan Hawkins, and Bilal Coulibaly are doing, as well as Thompson on the defensive end of the floor. So let me know what you guys think about the 2023 draft class so far in the comments below. If you guys did enjoy, I would appreciate you dropping a thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.